Metrics should tell you what to do. Metrics, the purpose of keeping metrics is it tells you and your team what to do. In other words, what should you be focused on? How should you be investing your time, energy, focus, and money? What do you need to be training on or investing in? And investing in might be more marketing or better marketing or people and developing your people. That's it. That's what metrics tell you.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
At Genesis, we help successful chiropractors implement spinal decompression with a fully turnkey system that handles everything from marketing and new patient generation to systems, protocols, and ongoing support. The result? Massive value for your practice and life-changing outcomes for your patients, all without drugs or surgery. This is the next evolution in chiropractic care. Welcome to Genesis. Welcome to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast, Chiropractic's #1 business podcast. I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
And I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
And the question I have for you today is, how many meaningful marketing metrics are there? Hey, Dr. Stephen, there's many marketing metrics, but what we're going to focus on today are the top 10, the most important marketing metrics we're going to be focusing on for you as a chiropractic business. And Dr. Stephen, I know this is going to be an eye-opening episode for everybody who's listening. And I think you all know that we've organized our coaching into what we call the 4 seasons and then the 5 domains of the chiropractic business. And this is the first domain, Dr. Stephen. It's the domain of attraction. And we know that if we look at the journey of the patient journey, it always starts with the seeker. And we know that the purpose of marketing is to get a message into the marketplace, and you are the messenger. So Dr. Stephen, as we get into the head of marketing, I want to start with the heart of marketing, which is that what the world needs right now is they need healthcare, right? They need health. We want to restore health of humanity. And we know what chiropractic does is we unlock the health potential in humanity. All the health that people need already abides within. It's just being interfered with. It's not being expressed fully. And so chiropractic comes in. We've been singing this song for 130 years. We help unlock people's full health potential. We do that by identifying where there's interference and removing that interference. We've identified that root cause as subluxation. We remove the subluxation, the nervous system, that master control system restores health, and people have the greater expression of health, and they have the opportunity to live to their full health potential. And that is what we do. So the message in the marketplace, that is what we do. We share that message, and you're the messenger. You share the good news of what's possible for people. They have 2 lives. They have a life of possibility and a life of probability. And we give people the opportunity to step into a life of what's possible for them. And we do that. We unlock that for them. That is what we're really talking about here. As chiropractors, we're messengers, bringing hope, bringing health, and bringing healing to the communities that you serve. And guys, we can never grow tired of sharing the message. It must be at the forefront. It's the first of your 5 domains. It's at the top of every patient journey. Everybody, including me, we all started as a seeker. Some of us blindly seeking, some of us intentionally seeking, but at one point we were found. And now we've gotten to a place where we've been entrusted to bring the message to the marketplace. So Dr. Stephen, at the heart of this, it's for us to be able to help more people. That's why this matters. So we're going to get into the top 10 metrics, but let's never forget why we do what we do.
Heart, head, hands, feet, right? So always start with the heart, the why around what we do. The head is what do we do? Right? Get your head around it. The hands are how to do it. And the feet is let's go, let's move, let's execute. So the why, guys, listen, the promotion of chiropractic is an act of kindness. Mm-hmm. For an on-purpose chiropractor, we know that the promotion of chiropractic is an act of kindness, and therefore marketing of chiropractic is a moral obligation. And if they knew what we know, they would do what we do. Guys, you know this is true, right? So literally, the dragon that we need to slay in our profession is obscurity. After 130 years, you have to recognize that. It's like if you need a word to put on a Post-it note on your mirror, on your monitor for this week. Put obscurity up there and put that hash through it, right? The circle with the hash, right? So the dragon we've got to slay is obscurity, right? So why don't people go to a chiropractor? The vast majority of people, when asked, do you see a chiropractor? And if not, why not? Their answer is, I don't know why I should, right? To me, that's equal parts frustrating as it is inspiring, because I'm inspired to know it's like, man, we can slay that dragon, right? And the way we slay that dragon is with marketing. It's our market message, right? So guys, this conversation that we're having, continuing this conversation around marketing and lead generation, we can't overstate the importance of this from a practice perspective and a business perspective, right? So from a practice perspective and a business perspective, there's attraction and this marketing, this lead generation. Today's conversation, we're going to go look at it from the practice perspective, which we'll call operational, and then the business perspective, which we'll call financial, right? Dr. Sid Williams, the late great Dr. Sid Williams, used to say you had your service hand and you had your money hand, right? So you have the operational side, you have the financial side, you have the practice side, you have the business side. Guys, we're going to talk about the 10 metrics that matter in marketing, the 10 metrics that you have to be measuring, our top 10 favorites. And we all know the expression, what you measure is what matters. It's a way for you to communicate clearly to everybody on your team, the people that you recruit to help you manifest your vision and serve your purpose. What you measure is what gets managed, and what you measure is what gets mastered. You don't get what you want, you get what you measure. These aren't just Instagram posts and reels. This is the law of the jungle, guys. You have to understand what we're saying right now. You're just like, why do we want to talk about metrics? We want to talk metrics because we want not only your heart engaged, because we know that you're on purpose and your heart's engaged. We want your head engaged as well. What we need in chiropractic is more successful chiropractors, and more successful chiropractors. What that means to me is chiropractors that act boldly, starting with and especially with their marketing, right? You should be marketing with confidence, with certainty, with conviction, because you have the clarity around what it means to market well. You understand not only how to market well, but to how to measure the results of your marketing. And you are investing in your mission, you're investing in your practice and in your business and the growth of your business with your marketing dollars. We want you to be marketing and investing intelligently. Okay. This is all about business intelligence, Dr. Pete. This conversation, we're talking about the top 5 operational performance metrics and the top 5 financial performance metrics when it comes to marketing, lead generation, or what we love to call attraction.
So one of the things that you'll see, and I love this about what we do, because we meet a lot of chiropractors for the first time, meaning they're chiropractors, but they haven't been in TRP, they haven't been around. And so I just want to make sure I'm starting here for everybody. So whether you've been a regular listener to the podcast and you've been years and years and you've been super familiar with what we do, maybe you're a TRP doc and you're so familiar, maybe some of you who are listening, this is a new thing for you. So I just want to make sure I don't push right past you. But we have been able to bring something into the marketplace, which I think has been really refreshing to chiropractors and chiropractic, which is that we've organized your business into the 5 domains and 15 primary functions. Inside of underneath the domain of attraction, which is the first of the 5 domains, attraction is the ability to generate leads. We will use terms today, Dr. Stephen, you're going to use terms that other people maybe don't know, which is we have differentiated what a prospect is from a lead from an opportunity from a conversion. And a lot of people will use terms like, oh, new patients. We don't just call it, that's not how we do it. We actually have a greater level of sophistication because we know there's a greater level of organization that's required, because marketing isn't necessarily hard, it's organized. So we're organizing also your marketing for you with some of the language we're going to be sharing with you today. Some of you are going to be hearing terms that you've never heard before. Some of you are going to hear things you've heard before, but you don't know what they mean. And then a lot of us are going to be hearing things that we've heard before. Maybe we know what they mean. We don't know what to do with it, right? So all of that is going to be covered in a very short period of time today. And this is not an attraction seminar. If you're listening to this and you want to get dipped, you should be in the attraction immersion in the US, October 10 and 11. That's going to be in Phoenix. That may have come and gone. That ship may have sailed by the time this episode airs. I do not know, because we're recording this in the beginning of September, early September, still about 4 weeks out from our immersion. So whether this is something you hear before or after, but again, we as an organization, Dr. Stephen, we're really proud because I know at the immersion, we've released some really amazing things in terms of what we're doing to provide more support for chiropractors in our profession with the marketing. We are here to support you with this. So if you need help in this area, we are here to help you. We're here to serve you. I just want to say that in the front end. I don't want to, Dr. Stephen, you to go through what we're about to go through and just people check out and just be like, well, I don't know what, that's a lot. It's too much. We want you to also know, like, we can help you with this. Like, we're here to help you become more intelligent in your marketing, to know that you're investing your marketing limited resources of time, energy, focus, and money, and getting the kind of return on the investment that you want and need. And we are not a marketing agency. We are a coaching organization. So we're just going to coach you and share with you how to do it. But we've organized your marketing into 3 functions. There's a primary function of internal marketing, the primary function of external marketing, and the primary function of digital marketing. Underneath those are sub-functions. We're not going to get into the weeds on all this, but that alone, Dr. Stephen, has helped so many chiropractors just wrap their head around, like, oh, I see what it is. Internal marketing, got it. You've clearly defined what that is. Oh, external marketing, got it. You've clearly defined what that is. Oh, digital marketing, you've clearly defined what that is. We have done that for our profession. So Dr. Stephen, let's start with the operating performance metrics, because I think that is a great place to start. And then we'll get into the financial metrics from there.
Yeah. Before we jump right into the data. So just a little bit of housekeeping. I just want to get those dates out for the October seminar, the Remarkable Attraction Immersion, which is our marketing immersion. We're going to be holding it in both Phoenix as well as in Adelaide, Australia. So Phoenix is coming up on October 6th and 7th in Phoenix for our US or North American clients. Europeans are welcome to jump over across the pond as well. For that, we'd love to have you. And then on the other side of the world, in the other hemisphere, we've got for our Australasian chiropractors, we've got Adelaide, right? So the Remarkable Attraction Immersion in Adelaide, and that's October 24th and 25th. And then a couple weeks after that, we're over to New Zealand, right? So to deliver there for our New Zealand brothers and sisters as well. So Dr. P, it's pretty cool that about 25% of our TRP docs are in Australasia. That's pretty awesome. So, awesome. And that's going and growing. We just love our brothers and sisters over there. One of chiropractic's strongholds over the last 130 years. So the second thing I wanted to say was, let's make these metrics available to people, because we're going to get heady, and I don't want people freaking out or crashing their cars or falling off the treadmill as they're trying to take notes. We will share a PDF that has these top 10 marketing metrics. The first 5 will be operational. The second 5 will be financial. So there'll be a link somewhere here in the show notes that you can download that. And if you want us to talk you through this, if you need help with this, getting this in place or in play or optimized in your business, if you need to operationalize it, professionalize it, or optimize it, we'd love to help you with that. There'll be a place there we can schedule to jump on a call with us as well. So take advantage of that, guys. We love getting on with our listeners. It's so much fun to talk to our podcast listeners. By the way, guys, it's so fun when people come up and gives you a squeeze and be like, I've been listening to you guys for 6 years. That's so awesome and weird at the same time. You're like, I know you at all. And like, I know everything about you, which is very fun and very cool. Always come up and give us a squeeze, but don't wait for that. Jump on a call with us. We're really happy to walk you guys through this. So let's get into these operational performance metrics. So in the Remarkable practice, we've been really intentional about defining the 2 sides of the chiropractic coin, right? So there's the practice and then there's the business, right? So some of you are like, oh, I have a clinic. Yep. And both sides of that are present in that clinic. There's a practice side and then there's a business side, right? So the practice side of it, we call the operations of the practice. And then on the business side, there's the business side of the coin. So if we look at the operations, we call them attraction, conversion, retention, team building, and collections. On the business side, we call it lead generation, sales, delivery, HR, and money, right? So there's 2 sides to this coin, Dr. Pete. We're going to start with just the operations first, which is, I think, the traditional chiropractic stats. People always say, do you know your stats? Do you know your metrics? Do you know your numbers? Here are our 5 favorite metrics to use to organize your team. Okay. So remember, what you measure is what gets managed. What you measure is what gets managed. Okay. You're managing your team, right? So you're teaching people, hey, these are the numbers that matter. Okay. We're going to focus on these and you're going to be accountable to these and we're going to report on these. These are going to be on your scorecard. They're going to be on the scoreboard, right? Because these are the numbers that matter. We want to see these numbers move. So this is our ability to get people focused. And remember, focus is what makes the difference between busyness and productivity, right? So this is how you establish focus, is you pick the numbers you want to focus on and you assign them to somebody for accountability, right? So, and accountability is what turns motion into movement, right? So we all want more movement, not just motion. We don't want to be spinning our wheels, right? So here are my 5 favorites. These are the operational performance metrics. So number 1, is internal leads. So we talked about the three-legged stool of marketing, or the three tributaries of new patients. We've got internal and external and digital. So we've got internal leads, we've got external leads, and we've got digital leads. I like to keep these separate and distinct, Dr. Pete. And this is an absolute number versus a percentage, right? So I like it as an absolute number, because you might say, hey, we want to see 10 internal leads this month. We want to see 12 external leads this month, and we want to see 24 digital leads this month. Like, we're assigning numbers and goals, and relative to our goals, how many new patients did we generate from our internal lead activities, our external lead generation activities, and our digital lead generation activities. We're pulling those apart, so there's a distinction between the outcomes, because you can't do an outcome. You do the behaviors and the activities that drive the outcome. So it gets everybody focused on the team, and they say, where do we need to be doing more, or where do we need to do better? Where do we need to do things different?
Yeah. So obviously, Doc, we have some rules around this, and we're not going to get into it as well. We have what we call the remarkable standards. And we know that to build a truly scalable and durable, what we would also define as a remarkable business, there needs to be very specific. We set goals. We have targets for all of these, and there's a percent. So I just want to say to that, because while we are going to focus here on the number, we also have a standard for what the distribution should be for a well-balanced attack when it comes to a really healthy organization and what that should look like. We essentially, I'll just tell you, it's at least up to this point, historically, it's been a third. That's what we've taught. And so that can change seasonally depending on where you're at in the country and the world, right? So where spring and fall might be heavier on one, and then winter and summer on another, or whatever. At the end of the day, when you look at it over the course of 12 months, the goal will be somewhere around a third, right? Annually, the distribution. So that gives you an example of, even looking at these operational metrics, and that's a business thought regarding these operational metrics. But there's an influence that goes into that. There's an investment of time, energy, and focus, and even money that will go into producing the number of leads. So we're going to have benchmarks, which is our historical performance. And then we're going to have goals, which is our targets to be able to achieve our ultimate, let's say, goal for the year. We would know exactly how many we need to be able to achieve that. And I know, Dr. Stephen, I'm not trying to keep this on the road, but I just want everyone that's listening to know, as you get download this tool, there's layers underneath this that you must be aware of, that are going to be questions that we're going to need to answer as a business leader.
That's right.
And you're going to be accountable to that. So the number of internal leads. And let me just say this. So we differentiate a lead from an opportunity and a lead from a prospect as this. A lead is someone who is on the schedule. They booked an appointment, whether they did it through an online booking, or they called into the office and they got on the schedule, or they literally stop by, whatever it takes for them to get on the schedule. A lead in our world, Dr. Stephen, is they have an appointment booked on your schedule. That is a lead. So that's a number of people booked on the schedule, paid, unpaid, however you approach it, that's up to you, but they are on the schedule. They secured an appointment and they're going to be coming in. That's a lead in our world. So those are the first three. Yeah, that's right.
It's an important distinction, because what we're measuring here is marketing. Mm-hmm. Right. So, which is why the next metric is show rate. Mm-hmm. Right. So, and I like to, look at the show rate to get granular. What's my internal lead what's my internal lead show rate? What's my external lead show rate? What's my digital lead show rate? And then here we have an aggregate show rate. So are those people that schedule to come in for day one, how many people actually show up for day one? So it's an important metric. We're measuring the effectiveness of our marketing, and we're also measuring here the effectiveness of our processing of a lead and getting them scheduled to show up for the day one. When they actually walk in on day one, they go from being a lead to being an opportunity. So now we have an opportunity to convert that patient. And to your point, Dr. Pete, it's important that we recognize that when you have internal, external, and digital leads, this is an example of diversification. So I'm not talking about investing here. I'm talking about diversification of your business. You want to have diversified revenue. In other words, diversified source of customers. In other words, a diversification of your sources of new patients. You can't just have all of my new patients come from the attorney group down the street, or all of my new patients come from Facebook ads, or all of my new patients come internally. I'm 100% referral. I played that ego game for a while, right? And what I recognized is well, wait a minute. That's about you. There's a whole world of sick and suffering people outside your office. no shortage of toxic, deficient, subluxated, and vaccinated people wandering around town seeking a solution for better health. And you're like, well, I get all my patients from referral. It's like, well, that's about you. And that doesn't sound like mission to me at all. Right. So it is about balancing it out and saying, man, you should have a third of your people coming from internal referral, a third from your external activities, and a third from digital. So I'm going to climb off my soapbox and finish it up with number 5. Number 5 is reactivations. Right. So Dr. Pete, this is chiropractic's discarded stepchild, where it's like reactivations. Everybody's out there trying to boil the ocean, try to find the next potential chiropractic buyer, right? The next potential new patient. Meanwhile, they get a list of thousands of people who we know are chiropractic buyers. Why? Because they've bought from you before. In other words, they've been under chiropractic care. They've been under your chiropractic care. They know who you are. They know where you are. Chances are 95% of them know, like, and trust you, and they would come back. It's just that life got in the way. Let's go reactivate those people. Remember, net momentum is new client conversions or new patient conversions plus reactivated previously active clients or patients. Minus inactives equals net mo. Do not take your eye off reactivations.
What I'm glad about with what we're doing is that we've added this in as a KPI. I think it's really important. It was missing for a minute, and we recognize that, and we course corrected, right? We didn't have it included for a season. So the reacts and reactivations is huge for us, guys, as you're listening to this. It is a KPI. It is something that should be on someone's scorecard. It has very specific activities associated with it, ongoing. There are process and campaign-driven reactivations, and it's a critical part of your business. So I just want to emphasize that. And then I will also emphasize that what the day one, the show rate KPI reveals is how we can do a better job with E&A, with leads. And that's a huge part we're seeing right now, is how important what we call day 0 is, which is the not pre-qualification process. It is that, but it's also just getting an initial connection with that person and getting expectations set. And there's a variety of ways that we coach you to do that, but it's such a critical step. And so for a lot of docs, maybe you're listening to this, you're like, oh, we get tons of leads, Dr. Pete, but we don't have a great show rate. It's like, yep. So that is a point of constraint. If I was looking at your accountability grid and your marketing metrics specifically, I would say, hey, we need to circle that, and we need to spend the next 90 days correcting that, fixing that issue, because that's a major issue. Again, we'll get into that on probably a future episode. But that I just wanted to point that out, that's often a big point of exposure for docs, Dr. Steven, that we see like their lead to show rate is usually, it could be really low at times. And there's things that you can do to get that corrected. Yeah, and we highly recommend, obviously.
100%. I mean, there's nothing more demoralizing to the doctor or to your team when you've got, hey, we've got 4 new patients scheduled to come in this morning because we had some great event on Saturday, right? So, and next thing you know, you got 1 out of those 4 show up, right? So that is just, talk about sucking all of the air out of the hot air balloon. I can't stand when that happens, right? So, number one, just the energetic component of that. And not to mention, you're filling up your schedule book with places where other people could be coming in. So that's a double whammy, right? So again, rule of 72 and being able to handle these people well, that's all a processing situation. We're like, let's look at our process when somebody does say, they raise their hand, say, I'm a seeker, I need help, I want to come in. What does the process look like? Because Dr. Pete, you fix that KPI. There's not a lot of KPIs that are further upstream than day 1 show rate, right? So when you take your day 1 show rate from 74% to 90%, you get an entirely different business. You have an entirely different practice. You do that for 90 days. You're like, oh my gosh, look at that growth. It's like, well, you had a bleeding neck issue right at the front door, right? So it's like, man, you fix that thing way upstream like that, all those downstream metrics grow. And if you have to fix one thing, fix that thing. If you're not at a 90% show rate, fix that thing. And that's a process. See, metrics, remember the purpose of metrics? Metrics should tell you what to do. Metrics, the purpose of keeping metrics is it tells you and your team what to do. In other words, what should you be focused on? How should you be investing your time, energy, focus, and money? What do you need to be training on or investing in? And investing in might be more marketing or better marketing or people and developing your people. That's it. That's what metrics tell you. What should I be training on or what should I be investing in, right? So ultimately, your metrics will tell you what to do. All right, so let's take a look at these financial metrics. Speaking of telling you what to do, financial metrics often tell us how we're doing, right? How effective and how efficient are we as a business, right? So I'm going to go over these really quickly and let's unpack one of these, right? So there's CPL, cost per lead. What's it cost you to get a lead? CPA, which is cost per acquisition, which is very often considered cost to acquire a customer, or CAC, CAC. So CPL is cost per lead. What does it cost you to get a person on your schedule book? CAC, cost to acquire a customer. That is, what does it cost you to actually get a converted patient? So one is about a lead, the other is about an actual converted patient, right? So those are two different numbers. So what does it cost you with all your sales and marketing spend? What does it cost you to get a new patient to commit to care in your office? LTV, which is lifetime value, okay? Lifetime value of a customer or lifetime value of a patient. You can also look at LTGP, which is the lifetime gross profit, which is taking that lifetime value and hit it with your gross profit margin, which might be beyond this conversation, right? So, but it's a really important metric because you want to look at, well, not only how much revenue does the average patient spend over a lifetime of that practice, but how much profit is there in the average patient over their lifetime? So LTV, lifetime value, is revenue over their lifetime. LTGP is what is the gross profit associated with a patient over their lifetime. So before your eyes are crossed, guys, don't worry. Like I said, these metrics are down below. You can download the PDF. You can jump on a call and we will walk you through this. We'll talk you through this. You will understand it. You need to understand it if you want to be bold, okay? If you want to really reach your potential and grow your business. Number 4, ROI study, okay? So in ROI study, we're going to combine two of the numbers we just talked about. So this is an ROI, or return on investment study, okay? So let's look at LTV CAC ratio, which is the lifetime value to cost to acquire a customer in a ratio. Okay. So everybody knows, I should see a 3-to-1 return on investment. You'll hear that term. What you're saying is if I spend 1, I should get 3 back, right? A 3-to-1 return on my investment. That would say that my lifetime value is 3 times my cost to acquire a customer, right? So my my lifetime value of a customer is $3,000, but my cost to acquire a customer is $1,000, right? So it costs me $1,000 to get a customer, and the lifetime value in revenue is $3,000. That's a 3-to-1 ratio, LTV CAC ratio, okay? With our clients, we go deeper because we want to look at LTGP to CAC ratio, right? So I want to know how much profit is there relative to the cost to acquire a customer. So again, before your eyes cross, guys, download the PDF, jump on a call. We're happy to help you with that. And number 5, finally, it's ROAS. Looking at LTV CAC is a macro study, right? Like return on invested capital is a macro study. ROAS is a micro study where you're looking at what is the return on ad spend for this particular ad set, this particular ad, this particular campaign, Dr. Pete. This is where we're just teasing these things apart and saying, okay, so I want to invest in growing my business. And I know the truth is almost every single chiropractor that I talk to is under-investing in marketing and under-investing. They're pulling the oxygen out of the growth engine of their business because they are not confident that they know how to intelligently invest in marketing. They don't know how to measure what matters so that they can be assured that they're seeing the right return on the investment. They don't know what to measure. They don't know how to measure it. They don't know what a standard is and how you arrive at that. Because once you figure it out and be like, man, I'm getting a 6-to-1 or a 9-to-1 return on investment with my profit, LTGP. Let me ask you, how many dollar bills would you be pushing into the machine that spit out $9 at you? I mean, you'd be borrowing money to put more money into that machine, right? Because ultimately, once you have the clarity, the certainty, and the confidence to be able to market like a professional, the sky is the limit and you can reach the potential of both your practice and your business.
Please stick around for more business insights from this week's bonus interview with our remarkable success partner dedicated to helping you more successfully help more people. Enjoy.
Welcome, everyone. This is Coach Oz from the Remarkable Practice. And with me, I have our amazing success partner from Better Balance Orthotics, Dr. Andrew Powell. Dr. Andrew, welcome.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
Lovely. And I wanted everyone to get to know you a bit more. So if you can introduce yourself and just give a bit of a background about your story.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. I've been a doc for 23 years. And but even before that, really, I grew up my whole life having super flat feet. I couldn't run. I was like the slowest kid. I was at the soccer. When I played soccer, I was the goalie on my team. I got 1 year as fullback, and then they were like, no, mate, you better be goalie. I just was not athletic. And I realize now that the problem was my feet. In fact, when I got into chiropractic school, I really realized that that was the problem for the cause for my lower back disc problems, my hip problems, a whole bunch of problems in my body. And everybody knew I had flat feet, but nobody ever thought there was anything you could do about it. So when I did get into practice, I got into using orthotics in my practice, and I used a bunch of different companies. I used to have like the fancy gait scanner that you could walk over, and it took all these pretty pictures and images of your feet, all these great bells and whistles. But I didn't see changes. I didn't see changes in my own feet, and I didn't see changes in my patient's feet. I didn't see anything that was lasting. In fact, I wore those orthotics for probably nearly 10 years. And I would say at the end of that time, my feet were not better, they were worse. My feet and my posture were worse than when I started. Fortunately, I came across a medical doctor who was an amazing creator, and his daughter had very bad scoliosis. She'd had a bad failed scoliosis Harrington rod surgery, and he was looking for a solution. So he found something over in France and Italy where they were studying the effect of the feet on posture. And he actually created a device that he called at the time Healthmark Orthotics as a treatment for scoliosis. And, it was really working well on that level. He had a ton of before and after x-rays and some really cool stuff. So I started wearing these and I started using them in my own practice. And for years, I started just using them to treat scoliosis. But over time, we discovered more and more conditions that respond to these. In fact, we started to really understand what they were doing to a patient's neurology, to the point where no longer do we use them for specific conditions. We actually assess everybody, anyone who wears shoes regularly or anyone who walks on flat surfaces, which, let's face it, right, that's all of us. These are an ideal solution for. Sadly, in 2020, Dr. Ed passed away. And at that point, we took over his company. He said to me, look, Andrew, I know I've got a world-changing product here that's going to help a lot of people. And I've just lived my whole life. I've been so busy with my medical practice that I've never been able to give it the attention it deserves. I'd really like you to go and take this out to the world. So since 2020, that's what we've been doing.
Love it. What an amazing mission. What an amazing purpose, right? And you mentioned that you found so many other health benefits using these, not just for scoliosis. So, if I'm a doctor and I'm really interested in this right now, what sort of other benefits and changes does Better Balance Orthotics have for people?
So the benefits and changes are huge. We measure them and we prescribe them primarily based on posture. And I guess what happened in the clinic, it was really a journey for us. We started out using them for scoliosis, but then we got some great results for obvious foot stuff. I had a friend of mine, a doc, who had plantar fasciitis for 2 years, and nothing he did, he couldn't change it. And he swears that within 15 minutes of putting these on his feet, it went away and never came back. So, foot stuff was obvious, but then we started to see real improvements in patients' knee problems, in their lower back, in their neck pain, in their headaches. And, one that really comes to mind, I had an older patient and she had 3 bad falls within about a 6-month period. She banged up her shoulders, she hurt her neck and her back. And she came in one day with a walking stick and she just looked so defeated. She looked so miserable. She said to me, I hate using this thing, but I just don't feel safe without it. And, she was already getting adjusted. I thought, what else can I do to help her? So I thought, let's just put some of these on her feet and see what happens. And what happened was that she came back in about 2 weeks' time, just beaming, right? Like a different woman. She looked like 20 years younger. And she was like, I'm so excited. I've thrown away my walking stick. I just don't feel like I need it anymore. I feel so much more safe and secure on my feet. So that was a real penny drop for me. It was like, wow, there's a huge implication here for falls prevention with the elderly, for balance. We wanted to start to see what's this really doing. So we actually got a vestibular plate, which measures balance. You do eyes open, eyes closed, stable, unstable, and gives you a quantified falls risk. And what we see is that this is changing hugely when people start wearing these orthotics. So over time, posture changes. We see forward head carriage really reduced. We see pelvic alignment really improved. So pretty much everything physical and mechanical in the body changes. They help with how we absorb the impact forces from the ground. So my belief, although I don't have the evidence yet for this, is that long-term wearing them reduces osteoarthritis and joint damage. We see people's balance and their neurology overall improve. The reality is we weren't designed to walk on flat surfaces. We weren't designed to wear shoes. We spend millions of years getting this proprioceptive input through our feet with every step that we took every day. And unfortunately, none of us get that anymore.
100% true. because literally, like, modern life right now is just unnaturally stressful. Our bodies are geared, you can even look at screens and phones these days, tech neck, just you're losing that natural C curvature of the spine. Now we're looking at the feet section, right? Like we're always on flat surfaces. So we're losing that proprioceptive input coming from the feet as well. So that's massive. That's a really amazing thing to focus on and to get people to change their health outcomes for the better. So, Dr. Andrew, let's say that I'm a doc and I go, okay, that's great. I want to incorporate this into my practice and start to sell it, start to bring it into, I want to know if I can get a return of investment on this. How would that look?
So really, our docs are getting a huge return on investment, which is something we love, right? We want it to be a win-win-win. We say it's got to be a win for the patient, a win for the practice, and a win for the doc as well. What we've done is made it really, really easy, right? Like I said, I used these in my own practice for many years, probably about 10 years now. And Dr. Ed, as much as I love him, wasn't a businessman. He was an incredible doctor and creator, but it used to be difficult. They'd arrive and your staff would have to customize them. And so when we took over the company, we went, what's everything that we find difficult about this, and let's change that. We really tried to optimize it so that it was just easy for docs and easy for them to communicate the benefits and really just plug and play the whole system. So we provide everything you need. You start off with a starter pack, which gives you your own personal pair to wear, because you've got to experience it for yourself, right? You've got to walk your talk. Then you get everything you need to have it up and running in your clinic right away. We give you all the training, all the resources. We can train your staff. We can give you the language patterns over years. We found that patients really understand, so that it just clicks for them and they get it. So we really make it as simple as possible to put this into your clinic. In terms of the economics, you make $200 pair per profit. So they're a profit per pair, I should say. They're actually a great price for the patient, and they're covered by most health funds. So the patient gets a lot of their money back. But, $200 per pair. And really the system that we use in my clinic is we know how important these are for people to retain their adjustments. So we assess every patient on the initial visit, and then we report on it on the report of findings, and it becomes an important part of our care plan. We explain to the patients, this is going to help you make the most of every adjustment and hold your adjustments better between visits. It's going to help you get results better, faster. The thing about chiropractic practice is there's a lot of costs involved. We work hard, but it's an expensive business. And so sometimes you see these practices where there's high turnover, but it's not high profit. At the end of the day, there's not a lot of money going into the bank. And so these really change that equation. When you're making an extra $200 profit up front on each patient, it really becomes that win-win. The patients do better, the clinics do better, everyone does better. And that's what we love about it.
The ultimate win-win-win. I love that. And, one of the things that I'll ask as well is, like, these most likely have like wear and tear, like normal generalized orthotics as well. And
yes,
because they get such great changes in outcomes, that's also a reoccurring revenue, or people might get multiple pairs for different types of shoes as well. Is that right?
absolutely. So, if you're anything like me, I'm lazy. I don't like changing things from shoes to shoes. So I have a pair in every pair of shoes. So we do find many people will get multiple pairs, or when their health fund rolls over at the end of the year, we send them a little reminder of that and say, hey, do you need a second pair, or do you want to fit anyone else in your family? So they also generate a lot of referrals, because really people do love them. It's almost embarrassing to me sometimes when patients come back and say how much these have changed their life. I'm like, well, it's great. What about all the other things we do? But they do. Patients just rave about it. And so very often they're bringing their family in to get fitted, which is just another opportunity to share chiropractic with them. People often are picking up a new pair every year or two. So yes, there's a recurring, not just a recurring sale, but a recurring conversation to engage in with that patient about what they can be doing to optimize their health.
I love that. And, let's say that I've heard this and I go, I want to actually look into it more. I want to actually take some actions, get into contact with you. What would be the best way to do that, Dr. Andrew?
So the best way to do that, we've got a quick video that kind of gives you a bit more information, explains about it, and then gives you an opportunity to book in a call with me. You can jump straight onto my calendar. So it's a bit of a longer link, but it's info.betterbalanceorthotics.com/watch video. That would really be the best place to start.
We'll make sure we slot that into the video here somewhere, and we'll also put it into the description so you can click on it and check it out as well. So before we wrap up, Doc, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
But the one piece, I guess, that I really want to just touch on is what I love about these orthotics is their alignment with our chiropractic philosophy, right? One of the things that makes us different, in fact, really the key thing that makes us different is our philosophy around health. And one of my mentors, Dr. Patrick Gentempo, always teaches that any contradiction in your philosophy leads to destruction. And so, I talk to docs and they go, you know what, I don't really like orthotics. And like, man, I get it, not only because I wore them for years and they didn't work for me, but what I've really come to understand is that traditional orthotics are just like a mechanical crutch. When I test patients, they don't make the same neurological and functional changes that ours do. So the way I teach it to my patients, I say, look, if you had a back problem and you wore a back brace every day, you might have less back pain, but do you think your back would get weaker or stronger? And everybody gets it, right? They go, well, my back would get weaker because the back brace is doing the work instead of my muscles. And exactly the same thing is true with a traditional orthotic. It's an arch support. It's pushing your foot into a certain position, but it's not really making your body work the way it was designed to work. Better balance orthotics are completely different. There's no support, no arch support at all. They're purely about stimulation. They're functional. They're about stimulating the nervous system. And I mean, let's face it, that's what we're all about as chiropractors, is working with the nervous system to create better function. And so these do that in a way that creates lasting changes. We see lasting changes in posture. We see people's bunions straighten up. In my own case, the flat feet that I had for like the first 30 years of my life are gone. I've got really great functional arches now. So I feel like this just got rid of a significant contradiction in my philosophy. This just fits so well with our chiropractic philosophy. It fits our paradigm, and I can really feel completely in integrity when I talk to patients about it and say, you know what, having these on your feet is going to allow you to get better outcomes. It's going to happen faster. You're going to get the most out of every adjustment, the most value out of your care plan, and you're going to hold your adjustments better. And that's just the truth. So it's really, I think, these are the perfect match for our chiropractic philosophy.
Awesome. I've got nothing to say there. You just said it and wrapped it up perfectly. So guys, please check out Better Balance Orthotics. Click on the link. Go get in touch with Dr. Andrew. You won't regret it. I'll see you guys later. Thanks, Doc.
Thanks, man. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors.